Sometimes a heart shatters in such silence that you can hear its echo for years. Have you ever stood on the edge of trust and fallen into the abyss of betrayal? I have, and believe me, you never fully recover from that fall. My name is Jack, and contrary to what I believed, I was married to Emily, who was a master of deception. Beneath that mask was a deception so potent it poisoned everything I held dear. Before diving into my story, don't forget to subscribe and like this video to not miss out on the most striking stories about infidelity in marriage. Now, I invite you to this emotional journey. Ready? Let's start our video. My story begins on an ordinary Thursday, when my world was turned upside down. Isn't it strange how the ordinary can transform into a story that you can only hear in whispers and scandalous gossip? I was always cautious with women, having been burned in my first marriage. Emily knew about my wounds, how I recoiled from secrets, yet she still did it. Michael. He was an old flame from Emily's past. Always jovial and charming, Michael was the dream of Emily's youth. But that dream turned into a nightmare that wrecked our marriage. Without a word to me, Emily had stealthily arranged to meet Michael in a cafe during lunchtime on that fateful day. Yet, every deed leaves a trace. When Emily suddenly changed routine and those mysterious messages on her phone came together before my eyes, I uncovered the most painful truth of my life. Instead of confronting the ache inside, I wanted to see this betrayal with my own eyes. And there, from across the cafe, I watched as Emily disappeared into Michael's embrace. I stood across the street, my breath fogging the cold glass, witnessing not the greeting kiss she bestowed upon Michael, but one a bit too intimate, lingering a bit too long. Lurking in the shadows, I captured the photographs of the betrayal, the kind that sears into your memory. The kiss, the embrace, the full color, vivid exposure of betrayal. How do you describe the sensation of a world being torn apart? It's the sound of silence echoing in your ears, the void in your stomach, the acrid taste at the back of your throat. What followed was a blur of cold fury and meticulous planning. I gathered the evidence like a calamity. Because what's left when trust leaves but the truth? I watched my marriage crumble through the lens of a camera and vowed then never to be a fool again. Then came the confrontation. Have you ever faced a loved one and seen them squirm for excuses? In the kitchen, the heart of what was once our home, I demanded the truth. Her hesitations, her silences, they all screamed confession to me. And there I was, a man asking for nothing but the truth. But the truth had already dissipated. Afterward, I stood amidst the ruins and felt the agony of losing everything. As Emily put forth her lies, I waited in a cold, sharp silence. I witnessed our story being handed over to strangers, thrashing in the claws of ruthless betrayal. How do you salvage that? Yes, I took my revenge. It all started with an anger-filled silence. My retribution was calculated. I spread the photographs of her disgraceful rendezvous on social media, turning her into a stranger recognized by all. At work, on the streets, among former friends, Emily was now seen as fallen, unfaithful, and untrustworthy. But in the end, a storm raged within me, and I realized all that anger, that vengeance, brought me nothing. It left me only with a deeper wound. After the confrontation, standing on the rotten foundations of our marriage, I felt the cold face of loneliness. And Emily? She was buried under the wreckage of her own making. Emily's hardships were incomparable to the devastation she left in my life. When she became pregnant with Michael's child, her world collapsed. Michael showed his true colors and abandoned Emily. Now she was on the streets, destitute, with all hopes for the future extinguished. Our once joy-filled home was now empty and cold. Emily had lost everything. A tear fell from my eyes as she tried to sleep on a cold bench amidst the ruins she had created. The deepest wound of this tragedy was not just my loss, but that Emily became a prisoner of her own choices.